Kendra, my fiance, who was in a close to minimum wage job last year, recently said that $100 million doesn't even seem like that much money anymore. A year ago, I made a video asking Kendra about money mindset, and she believed that $50,000 a year was tons of money, like the peak of what you could ever achieve financially. So today I'm asking Kendra those same questions from 1 year ago to find out what she thinks about money now after 365 days of working on businesses together.
How far ahead do you like to plan financially? How far ahead?
A month.
A month.
How far ahead do you plan financially now?
Now our finances are joined. I think the furthest we ever plan right now is like 3 to 5 years. Years. Now we plan years in advance.
Yeah.
I've been exposed to starting my own business. Now I make tiny clay things. My goal with it is to make this whole world, starting out with these clay characters, and then get it to become like a TV show or video games. You can't not think ahead, because if you don't think ahead, then the whole thing will probably fold. Back then, I was in a very low paying job. I literally couldn't think any further because I had no savings. I was thinking, I just need to be able to live this month.
Do you budget?
I try. Did keep an Excel spreadsheet. It didn't really work for me because it was just, I kept having to go back to it all the time.
Oh my gosh. Oh. Do you budget now?
To high Now we have an Excel spreadsheet that we literally, we share an Excel.
We have a comprehensive spreadsheet, income sources, all personal expenses, assets and liabilities, credit scores, cash flow forecasts. It might seem like neurotic to track in that amount of detail, but the more you track your finances, the better understanding you have, the more informed you are, and the better decisions you can make.
When you're self-employed and you rely on getting money in and it is not guaranteed, that really makes you have to be more conscious of your financial situation.
What do you know about investing?
I only started investing when you told me about it, because I had no idea that was a thing either. I've just never been taught it. And I find that most people I know don't know much about it.
I found that as well.
I know a lot more about investing now, and I know to diversify. I didn't realise how important that was.
Diversifying.
Yeah, and I didn't realise that basically investing in yourself does actually ultimately help you investing monetarily as well.
Absolutely, because if you invest in yourself and learn the skills to make, say, a good business, then you might turn £1 or $1 into $100 in a year.
I mean, knowledge.
If someone gave you £100,000, what would you do with it?
I would give some to charities, and one thing that I really feel strongly about is like the homeless population. I'm not religious, but we give stuff to the church. That's how we used to get food when I was much younger. If we came into £100,000 immediately, I'd love to give to charity, but now I don't see 100,000 as big as it used to be.
Right. So you said then, you were like, wow, well then I've completely made it and I can start giving away chunks.
Yeah, definitely.
Whereas now you're more like, you'd rather invest that in more income growth.
Because then ultimately I could give a lot more money in the future. It's also that I would like to be comfortable in my life. In reality, if like we had a combined income of 50 grand a year, that's 2 years, which is insane. That you need £100,000 for an emergency
for
fund.
2 years, 24 months.
For 2 years.
Of guaranteed income.
Yeah. It's mental.
Do you have a credit card?
Yes, I do. You told me about the importance of credit cards. Capital and Barclays, American Express. 3. I've got 3 now, yeah. And I've also considered what's important for each of them, whereas before you were like, this one, and I was like, okay.
Why do you have
Well, to build my credit score, which I didn't know was a thing till I met you. I'm not going to lie to you. I didn't know that was a thing, because when people said credit score, I just thought that meant like how many cards you had. You told me about the importance of credit cards.
Speaking of which, if you are looking for a new
Oh, actually, this is probably a good opportunity to do the exact same plug that I did in the last video, where if you're looking for a new credit card, there's a link down in the description. You can sign up, spend a certain amount within the first 3 months, and then you get a big chunk of Avios points as a sort of sign-up bonus.
Do you prefer paying with things with cash or credit?
Much prefer cash.
Okay,
I
why?
don't want to go into a loan.
Yeah.
It's not something I'm opting for. Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah, to get the points.
I'd use the credit card because you get rewards from it.
Yeah.
Whereas with cash, you just have the cash and you use the cash. And you can still have the cash if you're using credit.
Yeah, you just pay it off straight away. Just buy it on the card and pay the card off straight away. So you're really basically just using the cash, but you get points. We're going to Nashville to see my best friend who's moved over to America, and we're going all the way there and back for, well, not free because you have to pay £150 each for taxes and fees, but the normal flight's like $1,000.
So that saved us a lot.
Instead of spending £2,000, we're spending £300 to do a return trip for 2 to America. So Credit cards.
This height difference is misleading, so I think we're going to swap seats.
We've got matching chairs now.
When we get to that stage, would you prefer it if our finances were like combined and we did everything like saved together and invested together, and then, you know, everything is joint, except we each get like a fixed amount of money for like just for ourselves each month? Or would you want all our own separate savings and separate investments and everything separate, but we just pay for some like joint bills together?
I would prefer to be more kind of together in it.
A year and 4 months later,
Yeah.
I think, since that video came out, we've joined finances. All of both our incomes goes into the same bank account, and we have our own amount of personal money. There's like a fixed amount each to spend on our own stuff. Gotta have aligned financial goals
Yeah.
for a successful relationship.
What are your thoughts on spending a lot of money
Oh no.
on a wedding?
I don't want to spend thousands upon thousands upon thousands of pounds because I'd much prefer to spend that elsewhere.
Right, like on what?
Like a house.
Do you want an expensive wedding?
No, but we are.
You don't.
I don't want an expensive wedding. I wish.
You want the wedding that we're going to have, but you want it
But
to be
I
cheap.
don't want it to be. Yeah, exactly.
So we were like, what's the maximum we want to spend on a wedding, including like rings and everything? £7,000. We were like, oof, even that's pretty steep, but that's probably based on what our friends who've recently got married were telling us. We were like, yeah, that should cover it. We were like, we want an outdoor wedding, and it just became this whole thing where it's
Just
like to
wanted
have
teepees.
to have an outdoor wedding with teepees. There's so many extra costs with teepees, and then we were like, well, why don't we just have it an indoor one? And we were like, oh well, that's just boring, and you're only gonna get married once. So it's like we may as well do like the one we actually want, or just go to an office and sign a piece of paper.
Do you prefer to buy generic brands or name brands in supermarkets?
Own brand.
Oh, like the shop's own brand?
Yeah. I'll always go for own brand.
Because it's mostly the same thing.
Kendra, you idiot. I've started to read the ingredients. Let's just use chopped tomatoes as an example. The percentage of bloody water is so high if you use like Savers or...
It's just like
or,
red
their own
water with
brand.
a bit like
Exactly.
10% tomato.
Would you buy a brand new car?
Yeah, if I had the money. My immediate thought is it's less likely to break.
What are your thoughts on buying cars at the moment?
I mean, I'd probably just go for one that's a year old or something like that. For me, it's not worth the extra cost. I don't care about customizing it and crap like that.
Right, yeah, because
only
that's the reason to
why-
order one exactly how you want.
Exactly. Like, if I was like, I want a specific veneer on my dashboard, like, that's like, I don't care.
I think when we met, you wanted a Land Rover Defender, but you didn't want one. Assuming you had the money at the time, you didn't want one because they're a gas guzzler. You wanted an electrified Land Rover Defender. What do you want now?
I want an electrified Land Rover.
So Kendra's fully in the business world now, which is amazing. If you want to see more of Kendra on the channel, comment down below, and I'll see you in the next one.